Well, good afternoon, everyone. We have two current projects going on. So, I'm getting started today. Don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. It's 98 degrees out here right now. But I've got two projects I want to talk to you about. Let me get some lights on. The first project is, I don't know if you can read that, the Level Mate Pro. Supposed to make it a little bit easier when you pull into a campground to make sure that you're at the right spot, so it's easier and quicker to level. And the next one we're going to do is inside. I got to start ripping the bed apart. Let's go inside and tell you about that one. Alright, so what we're going to do in here is make some changes electrically. I don't know if you can see it. Well, you can see it in the mirror over there. There's a receptacle there, and there's one on this side as well, down on the pedestal. The pedestal is stationary. Those do not operate on the inverter. So when we plug our phones in at night, or the Kindle, they don't charge if we're boondocking or Walmarting. So I am going to rewire those so that they run on the inverter, but also I have ordered ones, and I don't know if you can see them. Those are standard receptacles. The ones I ordered have two receptacles on it, plus an old USB and a USB-C. So we'll be able to not even have to use the charging blocks. So the first thing we got to do is start tearing the bed apart. Let's see if I get this in the right spot here. Again, my hydraulic lift sure doesn't make it easy. Those plugs, oh that's right, I forgot I had some beer in here. I got to obviously take this off where the breaker panels are, to access the breaker panel and the main wires, this cover here and this cover here, in order to access those and rewire those off the inverter. So that's what we're going to be working on. Alright, I just remembered that I've got the screws for my rail, my bed rail, into or through this plywood that I need to take off. So in order to do that, in order to get this panel off, I'm going to have to take these screws off and let the rail go up and then support it. So I need to go get some wrenches. Alright, so what I'm doing, I remember these shocks are pretty heavy duty shocks. They're like 150 pounds. And I had this bar snap up on me one time when I took all this apart. So I'm going to disconnect the shock before I disconnect the bar. So just being safe. Alright. Can't quite get my screw gun in here because my rail's in the way. So we're going to get my rail out of the way. Just doing a quick little zip tie. And hold it up. Alright. Holy cow. I hope there's enough light here. But look at the amount of wire just curled up in there. I mean, holy cow. Oh, here's another big giant bundle down here. All that extra wire. At any rate, the receptacle's here. It's not on this panel, but I'll be able to find out what wire's going in there and be able to get it out. My plan is to run new wire from the receptacle into here, over to that receptacle, and then over to this breaker panel. This breaker panel being the panel that runs on the inverter. And however those wires are run, I'm sure they go off and feed others, so they will be wire nutted or bolted together and left to continue the run. That's the plan. We'll see how it goes. It's getting awfully warm in here. It's 94 in the bedroom right now. Alright, I've waited a couple of days. It's much cooler. I also had to get some more parts here. So, the receptacles that are currently installed into the bed are RV special ones. They've got the old school or the old work stuff. They're sealed on the back side. I'm just going to have to cut those wires and wire nut them together to continue on with the circuit. Wiring's not the issue for me. The issue is the new receptacles I want to put in. Let's see if I can get in here. They're a standard receptacle, but it's got a USB-C and a USB-A on both of them. And they're going to go in a normal box such as this. But mounting this box is going to be a little tricky for me because I'm going to have to open up the plywood that goes around the existing holes. So I'm going to need my oscillating saw to cut that. Plus the wall is only 1.5 inches thick, so I'm going to have to cut the wall behind it because it's a double wall. So I've got to go cut a whole bunch of wood. But when I'm all done, we'll have a USB-C, a USB-A, and a duplex receptacle all running off the inverter. That's the plan anyhow. Let's go cut the pedestal up. So it looks like height-wise, we're in good shape. The new boxes I'm going to put in fit in here vertically. It's just that they're that much wider. So I'm going to have to just extend it by about the width of this by about, I don't know, 1/2 inch almost, and get this box in here to mount the new one. The only other issue is, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's a double wall. So I'm going to have to cut this section of the wall right here out as well, because the new boxes are much thicker than the wall. So I'm going to have to cut some wood around, or cut some wood out of here. Let's give it a shot. Same as the first side. Vertically, I've got plenty of room. It's the side to side, so I'm just going to give that a quick mark on where I gotta, or have to cut it out. So, alright, let me go get my oscillating saw. Well, I apologize. I don't think there's any way with this little space here that I can get my tripod set up. But suffice it to say, I'm going to take my oscillating saw, which happens to be plugged into the receptacle that I'm going to be cutting, so I have to really be careful because I had to go turn the power back on. But I'm going to be cutting this line right here in order to get the box to fit in. So, but I don't think I'm going to be able to have the tripod in here and do that at the same time. Okay, nothing ever goes smooth. So the pedestal is made out of 1/4 inch plywood, and the old work box, when you try to squeeze those in, is too small. Or the plywood's too small, this gap is too big. Let's see if I can hold this with one hand here. When that's all the way in, it's still too big of a gap between here and here to hold the box in place with, normally that goes over 1/2 inch sheetrock. So what I'm going to do is remove the tabs, take my oscillating saw and cut this off right here on both sides, and then just use 4 screws into the plywood to hold the box in place. That's currently the plan. Let's see how it goes on the one side. Well, that came off pretty easy with the oscillating saw. Do the other side, and I should just be able to slide it right into the box. Right into the hole I cut. Okay, quick update as I'm going. These are the receptacles that they use in there. They've got these little flaps that go up and squeeze like old work boxes from Home Depot or Lowe's. and I couldn't find one of these with the C USB and the A USB. So I decided to go ahead and just trash these. I just cut them off. I hate these things the way they operate anyhow. So this is now trash. But the wires are going into it because it feeds on. I'm stripping those and attaching those so that that circuit stays complete and goes on to the other receptacles. And there's the hole at which I am mounting the new box, and I'll run new wire to that. I wish I could be videotaping as I'm going, but I'm like standing on my head here under the bed. You can see it's kind of cramped in here between the wall and the bed and everything. So try and keep you updated as I go. Okay, I got the wire connected back up so that the circuit stays complete. Wire nuts and a lot of electrical tape. So that goes through. There's the back of the box sticking out. Alright, I'm getting a little bit better. Look at that. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Getting better with the saw. So I still got to do the wiring. There's the plug just laying there. Still got to do the wiring and get that mounted. I think I'm going to go clean up the other side a little bit. Okay, I redid this one side. I found a way to get the patched board inside and attach that, and then attach the box to that, and it's solid now. And that'll most likely be covered by the plate. I'll get over here a little bit. That most likely will be covered by the plate, and what's not covered, I do have matching paint. So hopefully that'll be a lot better. Okay, got Angel side done. Awesome. I still have to cut those wires. Crap, I forgot to pull that out. That should have been pulled out before I put the box in. I have to take the box back out. Oh well. At any rate, all that's left is the wiring, which I used to be an electrician years and years ago, which doesn't bother me at all. I actually kind of like wiring. It was cutting of the wood and mounting boxes that I don't like. But so we got the hard part done as far as I'm concerned. The rest is just wiring. So let's get going. Okay, time to hook up to the inverter side. First thing I want to do is come over here and kill my inverter breaker, so I no longer have 120 coming from the barn into that panel in my pass-through, but I got to kill the inverter too. So now there should be 0 voltage. Let's find out. So we go up here and here. We got 0. This breaker, by the way, is the main one coming from feed. That's the feed coming from here. And these two are what's powered in the house. This is the microwave, and this is the receptacles. If you just kill that breaker, the breaker over here on the main panel, the inverter kicks in and brings it back up to 120 volt, but that's why I shut off that. So everything's dead on here. Now we're going to pull some wire. Alright, I got you on wide angle. This is the back of the inverter panel. There are 3 screws. Two on the bottom and 1 on the top that I've already undone. And that holds in this piece of wood. There's my 3 screws. And that holds in this piece of wood, and the plastic breaker box for the inverter breakers is attached to this wood. We got to get this out of here in order to, well, I say we got to get it out of here. How the hell did they get it in here? There's a wire strap down here at the bottom that I can't get it over. Oh man. So close, so close. And
they have attached to here. That's kind of weird. But anyway, all I have to do is run a piece of wire up into here. That'll run out to that switch over there. So if I can get a piece of wire up in here, I'll get this all back together. I'm gonna go get some wire. So I went to my stash and I have one piece. It's probably gonna be long enough, a 14.2, but I've got remnants of a 100-foot roll over there. 14.2 is more than enough. It's a 15 amp breaker I'm hooking into, and the most that'll ever be drawn on it is Angel's hair dryer. So I could run some number 12, but no need. I'm just going to run this 14, which is what was running to those plugs in the first place. So let's hope I got enough here without having to break into that. So what I'm doing is I ran the wire, just looped it over there, down underneath. I'll get it all tucked in later, and that's going to go from receptacle to receptacle, and then I'm going to run from that receptacle over there. After I connect the two, I will run the main line coming back here, and that'll use that receptacle over there as the junction box, and it'll all come off of this 15, and it looks like I'm going to have plenty of wire. So I'm going to do this one first over here on Angel's side. And that way, when I get the wire over to that side and I get it stretched out nice and tight and tucked away and zip tied in place, then I'll do that one, and then from there back over here. So let me go ahead and get these wires stripped down and put into the new receptacle. Well, there you go. The exciting thing about this plug is it's still a two-prong receptacle, but it's got a USB-A and a USB-C. So let's go wire up the other side. Alright, trying to feed the wire over the other side. I still cannot believe how much wire is just curled up and coiled up and taped there. That's ridiculous. But I got to get that white wire along here, under there, into that receptacle. And looking at this, there's all kinds of straps and other places that have a little bit of room, so I'm going to try and feed it through some of the existing tie wraps that are there. What a mess. I cannot believe Jayco is proud of this. I doubt very much they're proud of it. They just don't care. Now let me see if I can stuff some of this through here. Okay, it's not pretty, but there's my wire. I went under this bundle, under the big heavy duty wire coming in from the transfer switch, or into the transfer switch, under this one had plenty of space, so through there, under the big one here, under the conduit, and then let's get over here. There's really nothing really here, so I just kind of like crammed it down between this big bundle of red under here and back up over here. So now I'm going to get ready to hook that up into that receptacle, but I'm also going to run a wire from there back to here where the breaker panel is for the inverter. I've got it up in here, made sure I had enough because the terminal blocks for the neutral are way up here. The ground terminal is down here, and I'm going to be tapping into this 15 amp here, so I've got plenty of black. I just need to make sure I got plenty of white neutral to get up to here. And I got it in there. I think I've got it pulled up just about as far as I'm going to need it. So I'm going to tighten this back up. Pinch all those wires. As you can see, all they did before was just twist them in there. So that's what I did. Well, that was easy getting that back in there. Just 2 screws down here at the bottom and one right here. Let me go ahead and get those in and start wiring. Okay, we got my side all wired up. All I have left to do is tap the wire into the 15 amp breaker on the inverter breaker panel. Take but a minute. Alright, we got this set up. Maybe you can watch me strip some wires. Not that that's terribly exciting. One of the best purchases I ever made. I bought these back when I was actually working in a machine shop back in the 80s. I love these strippers. Let's see what we got. Ground goes in behind. Alright, before I walked in, I made sure that the RV was not plugged in. I also just looked to make sure the inverter is not on, but you are dealing with electricity. Zero. Make a 90-degree curve into there. That means we cut off right about here. That's why I love these strippers, is the universal. I can cut wire with them, I can strip with them. Loosen up the terminal. Put the neutral wire in. Tight. Make sure everything else tight. Which shortly after I bought this RV, everything kept failing, and I went through and every electrical connection inside this main circuit breaker and here, everything was loose. So I had to go through and tighten everything up. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to share this 15 amp breaker. This 15 amp breaker powers the receptacle behind the recliners, the receptacle in the front TV, and the receptacle in the back TV. Alright, well, just out of laziness, I didn't even go outside and flip the breaker. All I did was turn on the inverter, because everything should work off the inverter. And if it works off the inverter, it's going to work on pass-through. But before I do anything, we check to make sure we're hot. This is the main breaker coming in, 120 volts. Here's the breaker I just put back in, 120 volts. So with that, let's go try it. Here's the plug I just put in. Here is a USB-C to USB-C. We're on inverter, we have no power. I got to, this is interesting. I'm going to plug in my phone while I'm recording to make sure it's charging. There we go. Okay, I got it all back together. There's the new receptacle with the USB ports that run off of the inverter. The side covers are back on. And we got that one done as well. So I'm gonna call that job done. I still gotta put this cover back on, but I've got some other work to do for something else. But anyhow, I think that's gonna wrap it up on that. We'll step outside and do that. All right, here's the ones we pulled out. They're the ones that seal on the back. They're really, really hard to open up and get these wires out. That's why I just cut them. I absolutely hate those things. They're trash. This is what I put in. True Greener, bought it on Amazon. No compensation. Bought it out of my own pocket. I like the fact that it came in a 2-pack and it has both USB-C and USB-A on it. I think total cost on that was $29. By the way, this will end up being another video. Let's switch this around. So the entire project took me, well, 3 days, but I only worked a couple hours a day. Got a little warm, so I walked away. Worked yesterday for a little bit until it was almost supper time, and I walked away and just finished up this morning. So total cost of the project was, I think, $23 or $29. I don't remember, for the receptacles, and then Lowe's, I think $5 for those boxes that I screwed into the plywood. Everything else I had, including the wire. So Angel's been talking about this for quite some time. I have been talking about it quite some time, having those receptacles under the bed work on the inverter. We do a lot of boondocking, harvest hosting, and Walmarting, especially when we're trying to get somewhere. So it's really going to be helpful to be able to keep the phones and Kindle plugged in without the generator running, and keeping them there by the bed. So looking forward to doing that. And in fact, I put the USB ones in there. I just make it that much more convenient. I'll have to search for a block somewhere. So anyhow, the entire project under 30 bucks, but I had a lot of the stuff, and probably about 3-4 hours worth of work. Not that bad at all. So, but I used to be an electrician years ago, but you know, whatever. Anyhow, I hope this helps, gives some people some ideas. If you have any questions, drop a comment. I'll be happy to answer. And again, if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. And thanks for watching. Bye.